Could it just move on now, move on to the next week, introduce Kate Higgins. Kate's a lifelong supporter of independence, and I'll plug a political blog as well. Bird's Eye, the Z View, and help co-founder Women for Independence. Ladies and gentlemen, can I welcome Kate Higgins.
Thank you. Now that we've got the microphone manoeuvres, it's a good job I've got two blokes on the stage, because we would never manage to work out what to do with all those wires, obviously, on our own. I'm delighted to be here in Armadale tonight, and actually it is a great pleasure to see a meeting organised by a community who just want more information and who want to hear the case for yes. As was said, I'm one of the women responsible, the monstrous regimen of helping to set up Women for Independence, because we wanted to make sure that women had their own space as part of this campaign. And we recognised pretty early on that women would absolutely be key to the outcome of this referendum. They would take longer to make their minds up, they would need their own space, and they needed to be listened to as much as talked at. And all of that has come to fruition. So to the men in the audience, please forgive me, but I am going to direct most of what I have to say to women who are here, and it's good to see so many women here at tonight's meeting. But I hope I say something that's of interest to you as well. And in fact, I'm going more niche than that, because actually I'm really talking to the women in the audience, and I know you're there, who are yes, but. You want to vote yes, but you just have some questions and doubts, and actually you just absolutely want to be sure you're making the right decision. Now, you're not the woman caricatured in that awful no advert, She's Made Her Mind Up. The one, I don't know if you saw it, who thinks her husband's a bore and her wains are a nuisance and appears to have a brain the size of a pinhead. Well, I have to say, she represents no woman I know of in Scotland. Because yes, some of you have questions and doubts, but you're some of the most thoughtful, engaged and informed voters I've met and had the privilege to meet in this campaign. You're watching TV, reading all the information and chatting with your friends and family. Yet the No camp chose to depict you as women with too much on your plates to bother with politics. Your silly wee heads couldn't cope was the message they sent out. So here you are, swallow our half-truths and scare stories instead. Know your place and your limitations was the inference and the message they were trying to get across. So ask yourself this, if you're a yes but woman. If that is what they think of you, why should you trust your future with them? And also ask yourself this, do you feel you've had a fair deal from Westminster? Do you think your life is as good as it could be? Because I don't think women have had a fair deal from Westminster. 40 years ago, we were promised equal pay, yet a gap still exists, and in fact it's getting worse. A few years ago it was 12%. This year the Scottish Government released research to show it's gone up again to 17%. And if you're in part-time work as a woman, you're likely to be earning more than a quarter less than a man for doing the same kind of work. I don't want to give Westminster another 40 years to make good on equal pay. And I'm tired of waiting for the UK to make good on its promises. Things are worse now for women than ever before in my lifetime. Three quarters of the near £15 billion worth of austerity cuts, pay freezes, benefit cuts, cuts to public services and hits on tax credits have come from women's incomes. We and our children are paying a high price for bankers' folly and to shore up an economic system which doesn't even reward us fairly. This generation of young adult voters, those in their 20s, will be the first ever to be worse off than their parents. This is what a united kingdom has given them. A legacy of never having enough, a lifetime of scrimping and scraping and trying to get by, of wanting to have a little of all that we have had. and too often having to leave Scotland and communities like Armadale in order to find it. Every year, over 40,000 young people under the age of 34 leave Scotland and rarely return. That's our talent being exported out the door because we cannot give them the opportunities they deserve. Older women too have been treated unfairly. They face the whammy now of reaching retirement later, still with compromised state pensions thanks to the restamp issue, and also smaller private pension pots because they dared to take time off work to raise children. They're experiencing not just fuel poverty in an energy-rich country, but also now the scandal of food poverty in a state which chooses instead to squander billions on needless nuclear weapons. I want women in Scotland to have better. I want better, particularly as my old age is hurtling rapidly towards me, and I want better for the families, for the women that my sons will bring into their lives to make their families with. We can have better with a yes vote. We can have a written constitution which, in a few simple sentences, will enshrine equality for women for all time. It will change the culture of Scotland, and that is what will make change further down the line possible. We can have a living wage so that fighting for better pay becomes a thing of the past, and we can have better equality laws with teeth which ensure that women cannot be treated unfairly and differently from men. We can have free childcare for all children under 5, a key plank in our economic infrastructure and strategy, making work paid for young mothers and indeed fathers, and ensuring that parents get to keep more of their incomes to spend on their families. Free childcare as a right, because it's good for children, good for parents, and good for the economy. We can maintain free university education so that more young women get to go to university and improve their life chances based on their ability to learn and not their parents' capacity to pay. Some of you may be thinking, but how can we afford all this? Because without changing anything, simply by having all our resources and powers at our disposal from day one, we would be the 14th richest country in the world. The UK is only the 17th. Scotland is a wealthy country, but too many of us, women and children in particular, as Fiona highlighted, do not see or sense that wealth. Life is a struggle. And I'm not so naive to think that independence of itself will achieve any of this. We will have to work hard to ensure that women get a fairer deal out of the new Scotland. But voting yes gives us the chance of change, of creating an equal and a just society for us all. On 18th of September, we have the opportunity to make this happen. One opportunity in our lifetimes, to start building a wealthier country and a fairer society. And who do I trust to make this change happen? You. I trust you, all of us, to make life better for everybody who lives and works here, because we are best placed to take decisions for all of us on behalf of us all. Throughout this campaign, and indeed throughout my life, I've been privileged to be inspired by many women. My godmother, Margaret Ewing, some of you may remember as Margaret Bain when she was first elected in the 1970s. My mum, Fiona Hislop, who I've known probably more years than we care to remember, and Nicola Sturgeon, the women in the SNP who have trailed a blaze and helped get us to where we are in this journey. But also too, I've been inspired by the late Margot MacDonald. And sadly, Margot's not here for this last part of our journey. But she said something in one of our last ever interviews that really resonated with me, and I've carried these words closely throughout these past few months in this campaign. This is our time of reckoning. We have to take it. And if we don't take it, we are consigning our children to much, much less. Smaller horizons, narrower aspirations. Consigning our children to being small, when we should be giving them a much bigger world. Let's not consign our children to being small. vote yes on the 18th of September. Thank you.